On this podcast, you'll find interviews with high-performing, successful individuals in life sciences. On a weekly basis, we cover their proven methods, principles, strategies, and mindsets to implement new technologies that scale to meet the needs of people in our world.
Welcome to the Life Science Success Podcast. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Don Davis. I'm a consultant in life sciences, and I help companies manage complexity and increase performance. Before we hop into today's interview, I just wanted to share with you really quickly, right around the first part of the year, in addition to the consulting work that I'm doing, we started a part of the organization that now focuses in on the digital media marketing side. And so a lot of clients are focused on sort of improving their web presence, improving SEO, which is search engine optimization, and also looking at potential ways to connect better with their clients. And so I know a lot of the team there is doing a great job in connecting with people as well to just, help to expand that business also. So just thought that I would, help share that as well. And with that, let me bring in my guest, Mike Landau. Mike is the COO of KBI Biopharma. He's an accomplished professional with 17 years of operational experience and has demonstrated experience in the areas of lean leadership, quality, compliance, and people management. And so with that, Mike, welcome to the show.
That's great, Don. Thanks so much for having me today. Really looking forward to talking with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. And for a lot of people that, oftentimes, watch these episodes, I've only had very few that are on the road. And so today we started a little bit late because I was running late, and I really appreciate, you being flexible in allowing me to interview you as well. So thanks a lot.
Yep, not a problem. I think we can all relate to those challenges when you're traveling and try to run place to place with Uber and Lyft. So
That's right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it probably would have been even worse had I tried to drive myself. That would be the worst situation. So thanks a lot.
Yep.
Hey, I tried to sort of, at a high level, talk about your experience and things like that. Would you mind sharing with the listeners just a little bit about yourself? What have you done in your career? Where have you been?
Yeah, sure. So I think I mentioned what we were chatting earlier, right? I'm coming up on my 19-year anniversary and living in Colorado. So kind of crazy to think that the time's gone by that fast. I'm originally from the East Coast. I went to university at the University of New Hampshire and got my degree in general biology. Spent all my youth on the East Coast. And as I finished up school, me and some friends kind of looked around and thought it would be a good time to head out west. So packed up and headed out to Denver. At that time, I kind of had a unique opportunity. I started playing rugby in college, and there was a men's club out here that had expressed some interest and could come out here and play competitively, certainly not professionally, but competitively. So my parents were very excited about me taking that general biology degree to go and play rugby where I wasn't getting compensated. So that worked out actually for the best, because that's actually how I got into biotech. So I was playing rugby out here for a couple of years and saw an old classmate at a game. And at that point, had started looking around and realized it was time to get the career path moving along. And so at that point, I started working at KBI's Boulder facility, doing manufacturing and microbial. At the time, it wasn't owned by KBI. So I've worked at the Boulder site since 2005, actually. And, we've had a couple different names on the doors. But overall, it's been a tremendous experience. Moving out to Colorado and getting started in biotech. I've started my family out here. So have firmly established roots out in Colorado and really love it out here. Again, I think my parents keep hoping one of these days I'll look to move back east, but not planning anything like that anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough thing, waking up and looking at the mountains. I mean, it's a really tough life.
It is. It is.
That we have in Colorado. So, although for somebody that doesn't like cold weather, I mean, that's definitely not what they're looking for. But at the same time, having mountains to climb, having the view that we do. I mean, I definitely enjoy that part of it, if not anything else. But yeah. So, I mean, in terms of your journey with KBI, I mean, I love these kind of stories because
Mhm.
oftentimes whenever people get to tell their career story and how they sort of progressed, I'd love for you to just to share, I mean, a little bit of, where did you start with KBI? And then,
Sure.
versus, what, when you thought about sort of setting that trajectory and becoming the COO, how did that sort of fall in place, or did you set a trajectory to become CEO or COO, and it, you know, happened that way?
Yeah, I don't think I would say I set a trajectory, right? But through the years, right, have always been very open to new opportunities. So, my career and my background is very much in operations. As I was just mentioning, I started my career as a manufacturing associate, working the floor, um, day shift, swing shift, night shift, kind of did it all. And that's, really where I fell in love with biotech and manufacturing. Anybody that's done shift work before knows it's a very unique working environment. A lot of correlation there to sports and kind of, team members and that. It's a very, very close bond, especially when it's, 3 a.m. on a Wednesday night and you're trying to work through kind of the challenge of the night. Right. So, um, that's where I got my start. And, for the first part of my career had, the opportunity to kind of grow within manufacturing departments. So going from an associate to a shift supervisor, department manager, those types of positions. Did that with Insmed and then when Merck owned our site for a number of years. And then when KBI came in, I had the opportunity to take over um, all of manufacturing, startup supply chain, technical operations, and really work to convert this site from what was a single product facility into the CDMO world, and have just greatly enjoyed, that challenge and where we are today. I think it was, when you look across our industry, there's kind of unique challenges depending on what side of it you're on. And for the first part of my career, right, doing a single product and trying to get that to approval, there's a lot of things outside of your control that can unfortunately lead to some negative impacts. And with KBI transitioning to the CDMO world, um, it's been a real pleasure because you get so much more exposure, I think, to different aspects of the industry, to different areas of innovation and research that's going on, and that relationship with the client is really unique. And so, with KBI, I had the opportunity to focus on, again, manufacturing and the operation side, and really what we're doing to meet the needs of our clients. Um, I then, had some interests in the commercial side of things, and really trying to understand more of the business side and what are we doing on contracting. So spent a couple years working with the executive partners of our clients to do commercial supply agreements and get more involved in that side of the business. And then in 2020, as KBI was taking a look at how we had expanded, I had the opportunity to get into a global operations role, and from there really started to get exposure across KBI's entire network, getting into all the different areas that we're providing services in for mammalian, analytical, cell therapy, and microbial, and really just um, embrace getting the opportunity to get out on the road, meet everybody at the different sites, and really enjoyed getting a much more thorough understanding of what it was we were doing and how we were operating. And then from there, was able to launch into the COO role last spring, and just have enjoyed every day since. It's been really great. I love working for KBI, and the dedication of the company and the people here is really, I think, unmatched, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, and I mean, I've said it in previous episodes as well that, I mean, I really halfway think that the whatever career path that you have in mind. I mean, I kind of set it up nicely with this idea of a trajectory that you're aiming
Mhm.
specifically for a spot. But at the same time, I mean, I do feel like our career paths happen to us, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the places that we often go, the companies that we often work for. I mean, it's a lot of sort of serendipity, along with
Mhm.
just having the right skill set to fit the
Yeah.
need at that given time.
Yeah, I agree. There's a part of it, right? It's being in the right place at the right time. And then you need to be open to and ready to seize those opportunities when presented, right? I think that's a big part of it. And I think I've always really enjoyed the leadership teams I've had the opportunity to work with, and the different areas of growth that I've been able to take advantage of. It's been really unique and definitely has gotten me to where I am today.
Yeah. So the next question that I would like to dive into a little bit more is for anybody that doesn't know, who is KBI Biopharma and what specifically do they do? Where do they fit in the industry?
Sure. Yeah. So KBI, we're full service CDMO. So we offer development and manufacturing services for mammalian, microbial, cell therapy. And then the company was really founded in analytics. So they when they got their start, there was a strong analytical team that really started to build up the business. So who we are is really, we're a company that, honestly just truly embraces challenges. I think at the heart of who we are, there's a tremendous amount of pride in our scientific expertise. We really seek out, challenging products to work on. We're not somebody that takes on a lot of clients and tries to fit you in a box. Most of the products we fit or we go after, aren't going to fit in a box, and we like that challenge. And that very much is a big part of who we are. I think if you ask, anybody at any level of the organization, that's something that they all take a tremendous amount of pride in. And so it's something that we're continuing to grow and work within and try to accelerate. So.
Very good. And then when clients come to you, what does it look like whenever they come in the door? So are they a newer company that's trying to scale a product? Or are they somebody who's, been around for a while and they're looking for a new partner to work with as a CDMO?
Yeah, I think it's honestly, it's all of the above, right? I think we have a very diverse portfolio of clients that we're really enjoying, and it varies from larger companies down to virtual startups, right? Where it could be 3 or 4 individuals working with a team of consultants, right? So for KBI, we don't necessarily have a preference for which size company we're going to work with. It's really about finding clients that are aligned with what we're trying to accomplish. We realize that they're usually coming to us with problems that they haven't been able to solve elsewhere. And we embrace that. And it's really about, working collaboratively to find the solution and hopefully get them into the clinic or get them to approval as efficiently as we can.
And maybe could you share with me, I mean, I know that I'm not asking for you to share the company, but could you share with me an example of one of the problems that a company's experienced that, fits some of the things that you guys would normally help with?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the, technical development, right? I mean, it could be a client that's having trouble with a refold expression, right? Or something along those lines on microbial, right? It's, we're often presented with clients that are going to have very aggressive timelines, and with those aggressive timelines come a lot of pressure to get a molecule, either perhaps the cell line developed, using our affiliate company Selexis, or if they already have their molecule identified, getting it into our development labs and really figuring out a way, how can we scale that and get the clinical material ready as fast as possible. So we've been very focused on, how we can do things quickly through the development labs, and how can you do, as much as possible in parallel. So we're really shortening that life cycle.
Yeah. The one sort of, off the cuff question I wanted to ask you in terms of the COO role, right, is that I oftentimes find that a lot of companies really struggle to understand exactly what the role is and sort of, what are the biggest advantages, that a COO can offer. How would you describe that?
Yeah, I mean, for COO, right, you need to have your finger on the pulse of the entire organization, right? When you look across at the teams, for myself, it's, all of our manufacturing teams, it's IT, it's supply chain, it's safety, right? So you really, you need to have that full view of the way that the company is performing across the board. And I think, when done well, the right level to operate at. For me, I've always been very fortunate to have, incredible teams, and that continues to be the case. The leadership teams that I work with, um, are incredibly talented. I'd go to battle with any of those folks. And it really gets down to understanding what, for me, it's not getting too far into the weeds. It's understanding where you need to provide people with the autonomy to operate, and then working with my executive team colleagues to make sure we're providing the right strategic direction so everybody understands what the priorities are, right, and how we're going to accomplish our goals at the end of it.
Very good. And then in terms of KBI, what are some of the biggest opportunities that you're looking at this year?
Yeah, so we had a really exciting year in 2022 where we launched two brand new facilities, one in Geneva, and then a new facility in the RTP area. We are really looking across our network for how we can continue to optimize those locations. For RTP specifically, we had a heavy investment in automation. So we're continuing to look across our network for how we can, expand in those areas and really improve access to data for clients, right? And really becoming more seamlessly integrated with them so they understand what's going on with their portfolio. So we're really focused on kind of growing within our current modalities, and then starting to execute against the next phase of strategic expansion plans. So we'll be constantly, we're always taking a look across the industry where there's new opportunities in that. And you're certainly seeing that growth across the industry.
And then what are some of the biggest challenges that you feel like you're facing right now?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities there with other companies, right? First and foremost, I think looking at, potential for recession is something that we're keenly aware of. So going back to your question about kind of the way our portfolio is set up, like a lot of biotech, venture capital is not as easy to come by as it once was. And that, can translate and puts a lot of pressure on our clients. So we're heavily focused on monitoring that and really making sure that we're understanding and we're collaborative and ready to have, pragmatic discussions with our clients for, how we can continue to push their programs forward, understanding some of the pressures that they may be facing. On the other side of it, I think is people. So one of the most exciting parts about biotech is the constant expansion that you're seeing. With that comes a heavy focus on finding the right type of talent and making sure talent is available to fill new locations and make sure that you're stabilizing your workforce. So we've had a lot of focus on what we're doing for the employee experience at KBI. We're really starting to see that in our own retention numbers, which has greatly helped. But really keeping an eye towards the future for what employees are looking for and what do we need to do to make sure that we're continuing to meet the needs of our business and our clients, while also acknowledging where there has been changes in the workforce and there's different priorities there. So I think overall we're in a pretty good spot, but it is certainly something that all of us are continuing to evaluate and understand how we need to react and change to things.
Yeah, it definitely, it is interesting to watch, right? So you have both the, kind of the capital acquisition side, right? So a lot of companies are out there trying to raise funds, and even to raise funds with other partners, right? Or to raise funds so that they can use them with other partners. I mean, I have a direct experience with that as well. And, in addition to that, you have kind of this opposite, side problem, which is, even once you have the capital, do you have the people, or will you be able to, acquire the talent to be able to do the work that you need to do as well? So definitely a challenge.
Yep.
Yeah. And so there are three questions that I like to ask every guest. What inspires you?
I mean, just our industry in general, right? I mean, it's hard not to work in this industry. I mean, it's just, it's kind of built in when you're figuring out how to manufacture medicines that you're going to be inspired and feel good about what you do. For me, I guess a couple personal stories. So, when I was 28 years old, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So there's not a day that goes by that I don't feel a direct connection to what we do. I mean, the advancements that they've been able to make specifically for diabetes and uh, rapid acting insulin, it allows me to live a normal life, right? And I feel that every day. And when I look across the programs that we're working on and understanding where there are just so many unmet medical needs, that to know that we're playing a role there that could ultimately provide a solution and allow somebody to live a normal life or to save a life, that in and of itself is just is very inspiring. I had a moment about a year ago where I just happened to be walking through my neighborhood and started talking with someone, and hadn't seen each other for a while, and they were asking me how things are going at work, and we started talking about the medicines that we manufacture, and it turned out that their spouse was actually on Udenica, which is the commercial product that we manufacture in Boulder. I mean, it was just like it was incredible to have that experience, and as a CDMO, we don't always have that connection to the patient, right? We do a great job, I think, working with our clients and getting exposure to just how passionate the teams are there. But the direct connection to the patient isn't always there. And that, that moment there for me, it just, it meant so much to know that you are having that type of impact on people. And so that we're lucky to get to do what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love those sort of stories. I love it whenever people, one, get to connect with patients, but then also
Mhm.
whenever you have, personal, impact as well that you're feeling.
Yep.
It definitely, helps you feel connected overall.
Sure.
So, and what concerns you?
Concerns, it's an interesting one, right? I think as we've been looking and as my career has progressed, I think the pressures and the speed at which we need to get, products through development at this point, it's not slowing down. That's for sure. Right. And so for, what we're trying to do at KBI is very focused on that, right? It really emphasizes, how close of a collaboration we need to have with our client partners and how we really need to be an extension, of their services, right? You need to have that trust so that they know the recommendations that we're making are truly in the best interest for their product and what they're trying to accomplish, right? So we're constantly looking at the speed and the expectations, the funding side of things, right? We're looking at all that to really understand how can we be the best partner for our clients to really meet their needs and do so in a way that provides a tremendous amount of value for them and where they're really satisfied. So, that's an area that's just so important to what we do.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. And lastly, what excites you?
I think just where the industry is going in general. I mean, there's just so much growth that is just, it's really incredible to see with the investments that are being made. In the Denver area here, there's a great biotech community that's really starting to take hold, where we have facilities in North Carolina and down in the Woodlands, Texas. Those are very established areas. Over in Europe, same thing. It's really exciting to see the growth. And as you start to look at some of the advancements that are being made now, whether it's single use and process improvements that are allowing us to reduce scale, right, which just has a tremendous opportunity to have a positive impact on overall how development is going and the cost of goods on the back end. There's just so much exciting investment going on, and you combine that with some of the work in AI and that, man, I mean, it's just endless, right? I mean, we get exposure to so many different things that it's really cool to evaluate where those opportunities fit within our own network, right? And how we can make the right investments to make, not only make it easier for our employees, right? So they're having a better time at work and really enjoying what they're doing, but then being able to make sure that benefit is passed on to our clients as well. It's a really exciting space to be in right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that as well. And Michael Landau, it's been great to get to know you a little bit better and understand a little bit more about what's going on at KBI Biopharma. So thank you for sharing that. And thanks a lot for being here on the Life Science Success Podcast with me. I appreciate it.
Great. Thanks a lot, Don. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to Life Science Success. For complete details about this podcast, including show notes, how to get in touch with guests, and more episodes, please visit www.lifesciencesuccess.com. If there's someone you'd like for us to invite to the show as a guest, please let me know by sending me a message at the podcast website. Please click subscribe on your favorite podcast app, share the podcast, or tell a friend about it. And last but not least, rate the podcast. Thank you again.